Honorable Minister, Ministry of Planning of the Government of People's Republic of Bangladesh, Honorable British High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Honorable members of Ulab Board of Trustees, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Pro Vice Chancellor of Ulab, distinguished speakers, scholars attending the 8th South and Southeast Asian Association for the Study of Culture and Religions conference titled Rivers and Religion, Connecting Cultures of South and Southeast Asia. Welcome to the closing ceremony of the 8th SSEASR conference, Rivers and Religion, Connecting Cultures of South and Southeast Asia, hosted by the General Education Department at University of Liberal Arts, Bangladesh. It has been an immense honor for ULAB to host 170 scholars from over 30 countries for the past 3 days. We are very honored to have Honorable Minister, Mr. M.A. Mannan MP, Ministry of Planning, Government of the People's Republic of Bangladesh as chief guest of the closing ceremony of the 8th SSEASR conference. We are also honored by the presence of His Excellency, Mr. Kanbar Hossein-Bor, the Acting British High Commissioner to Bangladesh, as the special guest of the event. I will now request Professor Shamshed Murtuza, the Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor of University of Liberal Arts, Bangladesh, to give his welcome address. Please welcome Professor Shamshed Murtuza.
Thank you, Nadia. Good evening. Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. M.A. Mannan MP, Minister of Planning, Government of Bangladesh. Honorable Special Guest, His Excellency, Mr. Kanbar Hossein-Bor, Acting British High Commission to Bangladesh. President of the South and Southeast Asian Association for the Study of Culture and Religion, and a friend of ULAB, Professor Amarjit Lochan. Ms. Amina Ahmed, Member Board of Trustees, ULAB BC, distinguished guests, participants, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the closing ceremony of the 8th SSEASR, quite a tongue twister, conference. When you all gathered here on the 13th, the temperature shot up to 36 degrees Celsius, and it felt like 42 degrees. Now that you have showered your lectures and deliberations, the temperature has come down to 29 degrees Celsius. I guess we can all blame our collective heat and ideas for the temperamental weather. Now that the monsoon is here, we can all relax and enjoy the remaining part of the conference. Holding the 8th SSEASR was a huge challenge for ULAB. We're a small new university with a history of 15 years and a population of 5,000 students. However, in the last few years, we have earned our spot among the top 10 universities out of a total 150 in the country. At ULAB, we are working towards becoming not only the country's leading university, but also the knowledge hub, for the region. This may sound like a tall claim, but we are emboldened by the liberal arts ethos that sets us apart from other mainstream organizations, by the international partners and research centers that we have, and by the accomplished teachers, most of whom have overseas degrees and exposures. This is about the first time we are holding an international conference of this size and magnitude. 170 papers, from 30 different countries from all the continents, which have, been a part of this conference titled Rivers and Religion. This is a grand academic gala. This has been made possible because of you. You braved the travel advisory warnings or ignored the negative press to come to Bangladesh. Now you think of us, hopefully, for the richness of our hearts and minds, our hospitality, and not in terms of our currency reserve or our GDP standing. Thank you for joining the stream of knowledge, as it is the religion of any true academic. During the last 3 days, we have heard how religions originate from the rivers and how rivers carry their own religions. As a riverine country, our deltaic land is the confluence of many cultures and religions. We have adopted to a myriad of cultures and customs to call this land our home. As the Honorable Education Minister Dipomani MP in the opening ceremony was saying, some of you may have missed it as she said it in Bangla, that there is a breath of free spirit in our land. Many rulers and invaders therefore have come here and claimed the freedom as their own. She was referring to our colonial past, of course. In a changed world, when we talk about decolonizing the mind, we also need to think of forming new partners, new friends, within and outside the region. As the English metaphysical poet John Donne once said, no man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a continent, a piece of the continent. Our boundaries are a part of our essential selves. Conferences like these help us both to demarcate and celebrate these boundaries and encourage us to engage with one another with mutual respect. As host of the conference, we'd like to thank you for your presence. I'm sure there were many shortcomings on our part. I hope you will overlook them and reflect on your memory of the conference at Ulab to think of all the bridges that you have forged over the troubled water. Since the Honorable Planning Minister is here, I may take the opportunity to point out a shared concern. Academic gatherings are meant to showcase the positive Bangladesh. Unfortunately, many of our guests had their first taste of the country at the airport. To put it mildly, it was not a happy experience. It shouldn't take much to improve the long immigration process or the luggage collection. We'll be grateful to if the Honorable Minister kindly looks into the issues and ensures that our foreign guests and investors who set foot on the country, and they do it with the right orientation. Let me end by thanking my colleagues and students who worked relentlessly to make this conference a success. Especially Dr. Shahnaz Husna Jahan and Professor Amarjeev Lochan deserve a huge round of applause for bringing the conference to Bangladesh. Our sponsors, including the Indian and British High Commissions, media partners, helped us shoulder this huge responsibility. My heartfelt thanks to the Vice Chancellor, under whose able leadership the entire Ulab family came together to make this event possible. Thank you all.
I would now like to request Professor Imran Rahman, Special Advisor to the Board of Trustees, to come on the stage to give his remarks. Please welcome Professor Imran Rahman.
Good afternoon, Chief Guest, Honorable Planning Minister, Bangladesh, special guest, Honorable Acting High Commissioner of Britain to Bangladesh, members of Ulab Board of Trustees, Vice Chancellor, Pro-Vice Chancellor, and distinguished delegates. I'll be brief because Professor Shamshad spoke brilliantly and stole most of my thunder. But anyway, I just wanted to say that, personally, I was so happy to kind of meet some of the delegates, and I was so happy to soak in the atmosphere over the last 2 days. As Professor Shamshad mentioned, we are constrained in terms of our logistics and our capabilities, but we are not constrained with the warmth of our hearts and with our hospitality. I hope that you will return with very fond memories of Bangladesh, Dhaka, and Ulab. This is a conference which primarily relates to history, and this is a subject, an area that Ulab is very keen to pursue. We are one of the few universities which require each and every undergraduate students to take a course in history. And it's been a challenge to teach just one course in history to students from such varied backgrounds like engineering students, business students, literature students. But we are slowly getting there. And amazingly, what we found is that instead of looking at the subject as something of a chore, many of the students have actually, within themselves, have sparked an interest in the understanding of history. And so we are very encouraged, and we are planning to very soon offer a minor in history, hopefully leading a degree program in history in the near future. because a liberal arts university without a history major wouldn't really go down well. The other thing that Professor Shamshad mentioned is that we are very ambitious. We would like to be a university of renown within the region, and for that, of course, that means that we have to really have meaningful research, and that has been and is a challenge, because in Bangladesh most of the universities have over the years basically been transformed into teaching universities, and we have forgotten or let go of the wonderful start we had with the University of Dhaka, which was one of the premier research institutions of this region. But ULAB and a few other universities, we are trying to bring back research. It's difficult because research requires money. We unfortunately do not get any kind of funding from the government. We're also unfortunately not able to offer research degrees like MPhil or PhDs. Hopefully that will change very soon. And also, we are just starting to learn how to apply for international grants, and I would like to think that your visit will give us a quantum leap towards that end. I'm sure that many of our colleagues have formed bonds with you, and we would hopefully reach out to you to help us get to where we are. So let me finish by thanking all of you once again for attending this conference, particularly to Professor Lochan. Thank you, sir. Thank you for having faith in ULAB, and thank you, Shanaz, for finding Professor Lochan and bringing him here. And I hope this you enjoyed the rest of the time in the conference, and I particularly hope you enjoy the post-conference tours that has been arranged for you. So thank you once again, and goodbye.
We are very honored by the presence of Professor Rosalind I.J. Hackett, the Vice President of International Council for Philosophy and Humanistic Studies, who is also a professor at the Department of Religious Studies, University of Tennessee, Knoxville, USA, amongst us for the conference. I would now like to request Professor Rosalind I.J. Hackett to come to the stage to give her remarks about the conference. Please welcome Professor Rosalind I.J. Hackett.
Honourable Minister and Chief Guest, Honourable Special Guest and Acting High Commissioner, distinguished guests and colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Professor Shanaz Jahan, we have benefited from a wealth of archaeological presentations and research. Since religious phenomena date back to prehistory and constitute a major force in our globalizing world, it is entirely appropriate that papers have ranged from the ancient through the medieval, the pre-modern, the modern and postmodern worlds. We have heard papers that have provided detailed analyses of village contexts, while others have focused on national, regional, and diasporic levels. Now, if I may be so bold, I would like to suggest some areas where research might be continued, some of the questions that were raised by our discussions. I think that more work could be done on how religious actors, groups, and institutions are taking initiative or might be encouraged to take initiative in terms of their beliefs, their practices, their taboos, their beliefs or myths in relation to social change and in regards to climate change, or some would prefer to call it the climate crisis. So it's not just about studying religion, but also seeing how religion can go beyond protecting tradition, but use tradition to strategize in changing social and environmental context. I also think that it's important that in the study of religion, given that many of us come from the humanities and social sciences under the umbrella of study of religion, we have to keep up our tradition of being very self-critical about the language we use or that others use. Is it more appropriate to talk about indigenous? Is that many participants are using videos. This is a sign of our times, the modern media that are now available to us as academics. And we had some very interesting discussions about, well, you know, what video are you using? Who made this? Why is this soundtrack? Why are we hearing this song while we're viewing these indigenous people? So again, I would propose that we, in this modern media age, we must be very self-critical and critical about the methodologies and the tools, the modern media tools that we use. Let me close by expressing my deep gratitude for the hard work of the organizers and for the excellent planning and hospitality of our hosts. And I think I can speak for my colleagues here, really appreciate what I would call your holistic approach to conference organizing, in that you have understood that a conference is more than an event. It is an experience. It extends beyond the conference rooms to the conversations at mealtimes, on the buses, at the hotels, and on our tours. For those of us who are visitors to your country for the first time, we appreciate how many of you, whether it is the volunteer students who've been very impressive, and university, very impressive, and university officials and staff have bent over backwards to educate us about your culture and history and your hopes for the future. The outcomes of this rich and enjoyable and productive conference are of course many, but the one for which we are perhaps the most proud and will be one of the most lasting is the creation of the Bangladesh Association for the Study of Culture and Religion. We wish you well and hope that you and the ever-active South and Southeast Asian Association for the Study of Culture and Religion will be able to send representatives to next year's World Congress of the International Association for the History of Religions, the IHR, which will be held in Dunedin, New Zealand from August the 23rd to the 29th, 2020. Thank you all for such a wonderful, well-organized and memorable conference.
Ulab is honored by the first visit of His Excellency Mr. Kanbar Hossein-Bor, the Acting British High Commissioner to Bangladesh. I would now like to request the special guest of today's closing ceremony, Mr. Kanbar Hossein-Bor, to come to the stage to give his speech.
Chief guest, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor for me to join you on this very important occasion today, and if I can be so frank enough to say, I'm very humbled to be in the same room as many distinguished academics and experts in this field of rivers and religion. It's quite evident that, as many of you have already discovered, rivers have played an instrumental role in some of the major civilizations of humanity, be it Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley, or the Yellow River. Rivers have always been with humans ever since we started our first footsteps towards civilization. And Bangladesh is a country, a region which is, as we've come to learn, no exception to that. As someone who has been posted here barely over a year, I see it as a real honor for me to always learn about Bangladesh and be a student of Bangladesh. And as many of you will already know, the rivers have played not only an important role in the physical landscape of Bangladesh, but also the psychological aspect. And I would like to, if you can indulge with me, quote a very famous Bangla piece, which I think very eloquently reflects the importance of rivers to Bangladesh. Ganga amar ma, Podda amar ma, amar dui choke, dui jalar dahara, Meghna Jamuna. As I've come to learn, this piece by Mr. Hazarika very much reflects the foundational aspect of the important rivers of Meghna and Jamuna in coming to help realize Bangladesh and how it sees itself and its relationship with the region around it. And we've also heard very eloquently before us that rivers are a natural place for people to congregate around, be it through food, transport, water and security. And whenever I hear people talk about rivers, I can't but not help think about my own home in London and River Thames, and a place where I like to call home. But I'm also struck by the themes about religion. And I think what I find very reflective about that is that sometimes we in the West, certainly in the political context, don't pay enough attention to religion. And we're often reminded by that through, as we've heard, academics, and also through other parts of the world where religion still resonates and plays a key role in the day-to-day life of peoples. And what I'm struck by on a personal note is how both rivers and religions resonate together to reflect common themes that are important for us as human beings, be it through the idea of creation or a source, be it through the ideas of trying to separate different worlds from one another, be it through the transmitting of ideas, or ultimately through the ideas of purifying and healing that both water, rivers and religion personify. Indeed, as you may know, the Holy Quran recites the importance of rivers to us, where it says, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ الشَّيْءِ, the idea that from water was created everything. So in that regard, I've been very interested in listening and reading about the program today. But also, I've also come to learn that the idea of rivers resonates insofar as Bangladesh day-to-day culture. I've heard that through the idea of the Bahati al-Gan, the boatsmen in Bangladesh have often, through their somber journeys down the rivers, come up with songs to reflect the daily travails and difficulties of life. And for me, it's often a reminder that water not only helps to heal us, but also influences us. To conclude, I'm struck by the fact that as we approach 2021, the UK will be looking forward to celebrating with you in Bangladesh the 50th anniversary of the remarkable rise of this country from what you were left with in 1971 to where you are now. We, the UK, are pleased to know that we were on the right side of your birth, and we will also be looking forward to celebrating that momentous occasion with you. We often like to call that relationship between the UK and Bangladesh a living bridge. By that, we often refer to the fact that there are 600,000 Bangladeshis in the UK who are also proud to call themselves British. That does beg the question, if there's a living bridge, what lies beneath it? And I think in that regard, the theme of rivers, the theme of streams and currents is very much relevant, because from my perspective, we have a shared value, a shared culture, a shared history. And in that regard, it's incumbent upon us to ensure that we nurture this well-being of goodness. And what better way to do that through holding this important session at an educational institution like a university? Because You may not know this, but at any given time, there are 200,000 Bangladeshis who have, in one way or another, studied in the United Kingdom and live there. And from my perspective, they are the best ambassadors of reflecting the Bangladesh and UK relationship. And I look forward to working with Bangladeshi institutions like Ulab and others to welcome even more the prospect of British universities and educational establishments coming here and helping you to sow the seeds of knowledge and nurture them as you have done for millennia beforehand. Thank you very much.
Ulab is highly honored by the gracious presence of Honorable Minister Mr. M.A. Mannan MP, the Minister of Planning of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Mr. M.A. Mannan's different positions in the government of Bangladesh as Minister, State Minister, Chairman and member of various parliamentary standing committees, Chairman of BSCIC, NGO Affairs Bureau over the past 40 years reflect his strong involvement in working for the welfare of the rural people. Honorable Minister's presence as the chief guest of the 8th South and Southeast Asian Association for the Study of Culture and Religion Conference is greatly motivational for us. I would now like to request Mr. M.A. Mannan MP, the Honorable Minister of Planning, to come to the stage, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say that I feel deeply honored that you have kindly asked me to be here with you this evening. I am not qualified in reference to the subject that you have chosen for this discussion. I can feel that it is very deep, very wide, and probably encompasses entire human history. Rivers, religion, oh my God, I stood up. Readers, when I talk of rivers, well, I talk of the pharaohs, Egypt, the Nile comes into my mind. When I think of the supportive people as the distinguished High Commissioner of Britain just said, I think of Euphrates. When I read in the books about our great civilizations in all parts of the world, Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, I think of river Indus. When I think of our great Indian civilization, of which we were a proud part until only recently, I think of Delhi, the river Jamuna. Even in our own motherland, here in Bangladesh, our two great cities of Bengal, two countries now, culturally one, Calcutta, Bhagirathi, Dhaka, Buriganga. So rivers, rivers, rivers. You can't separate human beings from rivers. Human beings all through their history have immersed their bodies in the waters of the rivers, their souls in the religion, in the spirits. So rivers and religion that you have chosen to discuss for these 2 days here in Dhaka, I feel that you have chosen a very, very deep and time-honored subject, and I'm sure our faculty here in this young university, 15 years old Ulab, will benefit from your discussions, from your contributions, and we, including the distinguished High Commissioner here, and previously my distinguished colleague in the Ministry of Education, Deepu Mani, was here in the opening day, we all stand to benefit from it. We are an ancient civilization, but a very new nation, new country politically. We are trying to catch up. We have to pick up the various pieces during the last 2,000-3,000 years which were lost, particularly the recent 1,000 years, starting from the 10th century until now. We have received waves and waves and waves of foreign invaders, traders, friends, scholars, whatever. We enjoyed their company. Many were assimilated, some left, but everybody was welcome. We still welcome them. No bitterness, although it is called colonial past, we don't want to say it now. It's a phase of history from which we stand to benefit, now we think. So in that light, picking up this great subject by, again, the tongue twister you said, USSEASR, anyway, rivers and religion. I mean, sorry, I apologize. Rivers and religion. No, it's so important. I can't really contribute much to it, but I'm really shaken by it. What big things you have chosen. So, we want to inform you that our government of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, of which I am a part, we appreciate, we encourage all kinds of economic, intellectual, cultural activities in our country. Everyone has the total freedom to practice their faith, freedom to practice their way of life, to practice their cultural attributes in a complete, total free atmosphere. Because one of the reasons, one of the grounds, one of the points for which you fought our liberation war was that we want to build a country, build a society free from cultural barriers. In other words, a secular country would look at the world as a part of the whole human family, not broken into pieces and pieces. Although we respect, we agree, we accept the divisions into various phases were also a part, necessary part of the human evolution. We look forward to the day when maybe someday the whole great human family, which God in the great books has always said that He would look upon all of them as His children. So children must stay together. We in Bangladesh would like to make our small contribution to the great mission for which we in the human family are working together. Ladies and gentlemen, before I forget, I must apologize what you mentioned about the discomforts in our airport with regard to immigration and baggage. Two aspects. Baggage is, well, technologically or mechanically we are not a very smart people as yet. We are trying to pick up, but things are not as good as it should be. I apologize. I can say that I'll look into this matter, I'll ask the respective authorities. As regards immigration matters, again, there are some misinformation sometimes, disinformation, people with their own agenda, they all come in. It's a vibrant, living political society. We also, when you go out, it's not trying to quid pro quo, I'm not trying to sort of score up. We also do face some inconveniences when you go abroad. It is there all over the world, unfortunately. I'm not a historian. But think of those great civilizations, Indus, Euphrates, even Tiber in Rome, which is a young civilization compared to those. Did they have borders? Did they have passports? Did they have visa? You could walk in with your faith, with your goods, pay little taxes in the borders, wherever they are, walk in, trade, live, come back. That was the norm, I thought. I read in the books. Now what has happened? Borders, 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 rules. Stand up, wait, who are you, where are you from? Wait, I'll have to look into your backgrounds. Now this is where we are today. So this is another matter I would humbly put up before you, why we are here today in this situation. When these great civilizations could grow for thousands of years, prosper, and die out in its natural way. If they could survive through eons of time, why can't these little civilizations nowadays, technological civilizations, why can't they be part of the human family and open up? But it's a different matter. I'm just trying to say, because you mentioned it, it's a common problem for all of us. I'm sure scholars here and with all of you here, we can think about these matters and try and see how we can improve. I'm really glad to see this Ulab or Young University has moved it with courage to address this such a important matter, and I've invited distinguished guests from all over the world. I welcome all of them. I hope they enjoy their time here despite the difficulties at the airport. When they return, I hope the baggage will go quickly into the plane. Passports will be stamped with electricity. It does happen. When I move in there, when I move in, I have to wait. When I come out, very quick disposal. So I hope it can be here too. Another aspect you mentioned about Gobeshona, research facilities. It's difficult in this country. I talked with some others, academic from the north, south. You were there the other day. I'm sure University Grants Commission should be looked. I see no reason why it should be like that. The woman was here. She is responsible for this area of activity. She sits next to me in the parliament. So Sunday, tomorrow I think we have parliament. The first thing I'll raise it, ask her, why is it possible that you can't work for a PhD level in private universities? They are very bright young universities. So please be sure that this can be very quickly settled, I hope. As research funding, in my ministry, I have tidy sum of money. We have our rules. If we receive proposals from your people, in particular in social research council in the ERD, or in the planning ministry, you're welcome. Only this morning, I think we settled 15 cases of fresh research, only this morning. So I welcome scholars, students, teachers, anyone from this university to come with proposals. And I assure you that after having seen you here today, I'm sure when you come to my office or you send someone, I hope I'll be able to look into it more friendly and a better informed way. So I assure you that we can find some funding for your research proposals. I probably will not risk speaking more. It's such a subject of which I know so little. I don't want to make very stupid mistakes and be laughed at. So whatever I have done until now, I think I can get away with it. These few very bold remarks I made on a very shallow level of knowledge, I hope you'll excuse me for that. I hope you enjoy your time and do make a contribution to our knowledge. Thank you very much. Good evening. Joy Bangla.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. On behalf of University of Liberal Arts Bangladesh, the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor H.M. Johirul Haq, will hand over token of appreciation to the chief guest of the closing ceremony of 8th SSEASR conference, to Honorable Minister of Planning, Mr. M.A. Mannan MP. May I now request Professor Johirul Haq and Honorable Minister on the stage, please. The Vice Chancellor will now hand over a token of appreciation to the Honorable Minister. A huge round of applause for that. We are all honored by the presence of Mrs. Amina Ahmed, Member Ulab Board of Trustees. Can I request Mrs. Amina Ahmed on the stage, please? Hand over token of appreciation to the special guest of the closing ceremony, the Acting British High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Mr. Kanbar Hossein-Bor. May I request His Excellency on the stage, please? Mrs. Amina Ahmed will be handing over Ulab token of appreciation to our special guest. The key person behind the successful 8th SSEASR conference was the conference chair, Professor Shahnaz Husni-Jahan, Director of Center for Archaeological Studies, Ulab, will now receive a crest from Mrs. Amina Ahmed. Thank you, Professor Shahnaz Husni-Jahan. Madam, we have another crest, but I think she's not here. We are thankful to the sponsors of 8th SSEASR conference. Mrs. Amina Ahmed was supposed to give a token of appreciation to one of our sponsors, Habiba Khatun, Professor of Department of Islamic History and Culture, University of Dhaka. I think she's not here, so Professor Hashanaz Husne-Jahan will receive on her behalf. So Professor Habiba Khatun, she couldn't be here. So on her behalf, Professor Hashanaz Husne-Jahan is accepting the crest. Thank you, Mrs. Amina, for doing the honor. I would now request Honorable Treasurer of Ulab, Professor Milon Kumar Bhattacharjee on the stage, please, to hand over our token of appreciation to the rest of our wonderful sponsors. May I now request Mr. Mahabubur Zaman, Managing Director of Orient Food Company Limited, Dhaka, on the stage, please. Oh, all right. His son is here on his behalf, collecting the token of appreciation from our treasurer. Thank you, Orient Food, for being a wonderful sponsor of the 8th SSEASR conference. Next, can I request, I think Mr. Handan Mia is not here, but I will just mention his contribution. Mr. Handan Mia, Director General, Department of Archaeology, Ministry of Cultural Affairs, Government of People's Republic of Bangladesh, was again one of our sponsors of this conference. Again, a round of applause for him. And also Mr. Muhammad Riyaz Ahmed, Director General, Bangladesh National Museum, Ministry of Cultural Affairs, Government of People's Republic of Bangladesh. He's also not here. Again, a huge round of applause for being a wonderful sponsor. I would now like to request Mr. Mohammad Ayazuddin, Deputy Managing Director, the Holy Life Dhaka, on the stage, please. Thank you, Holy Life, for being a sponsor of the event. Our special thanks to different partners who have been instrumental in making the 4-day conference successful. Again, I would like to request our Treasurer, Honorable Treasurer, Professor Milan Kumar Bhattacharjee, to present ULAB token of appreciation to the following representatives. First of all, our media partner, Bangla Tribune. Can we have a representative from Bangla Tribune on the stage, please? Our next partner, prothomalo.com, strategic partner of the conference. Can I have again a representative from prothomalo.com on the stage, please? Our publication partner was Nymphia Publications. Can I? Our next other partners are also not here, but I would like to mention them. Daily Star, our media partner, and also Shout from Daily Star for being our youth engagement partner. Thank you, Professor Milan Kumar Bhattacharjee, for doing the honors. Now, to give closing remarks of the 8th SSEASR conference, can I request Professor Amarjiva Lochan, the President of SSEASR, on the stage, please.
Well, I am so much awed. Again, I tell, like the first day, I am very proud of having Minister of Power and Planning. I think he should get power also. And His Excellency acting, I will remove better acting because you have 7 months, no more acting. You are High Commissioner of Britain here. And I pray for that you are permanent. At the same time, Professor Rahman, whose Raham was so important to us. He has been very much guideful. And our own Professional Vice Chancellor, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Shamshad, which means handsome, tall like pine tree, which is in Arabic. And he has been like a tree to us. From the day one, I have been here 4 times preparing this conference. I found him really protecting and full of ideas. His tint in brown, if I remember someone was talking about Brown University, I met one more guy. They have been very helpful to us. But how can I forget to thank Professor Rosalind Hackett, our Vice President of CIPSH. She has been our President of IHR, the world body under which we work. I would like to tell some of them. The world body under which South and South Asian tongue twister comes. I work under that IHR. She was President for 2 terms. And above them, CIPSH is a larger body of the world which takes care of all these smaller bodies. And at the same time, Professor Satoko Fujiwara, IHR Secretary General, I am very, very grateful to her because she came to this place despite all the challenges. You know the tragedy of Japanese visitors a year ago in this country. And we thought we have to showcase, believe the people of this country, showing that in spite of so much travel advisories, including on the British High Commission website also, sorry about that, we had tried to bring people from all scholars from all different countries to be here. So I'm personally very thankful to Professor Satoko to represent Japan, because she is Japanese, and represent IHR to give a full boosting of morale and power to be here. Thank you so much for being here. And how to say words to Professor Jahirul Haq. Though he's in air, he was in Bangkok 3-4 days ago, then he was in China, suddenly I found him there. But he was all the time concerned how to go ahead with this program, and he was very, very open-hearted, made me my brother. And that brotherhood I will promise remove. Whole life will be in my heart. Thank you so much for that. You see the galaxy of scholars, we are from 30 countries. Some of them could not make it because of last minute visa problems, and some of them could not get permission from their universities. Whatever number you have got, they are our staunch supporters of SSEASR, the tongue twister. I again remind that tongue is problematic here, but I can assure this house of my people, my friends, you are a mentor, that this tongue twister name has become tongue of religious studies in the entire Southeast Asia. This is very important contribution. We have tried to work, and we have now a larger family gathering, and I'm very proud of that. Apart from that, SSEASR personally feels grateful and humbled by your support and kindness to allow different changes, program, and the vision of this. This all could have been done without any big problem you can think of. No, there are many problems. But all these things were handled very strongly by none other than Professor Shahnaz Hussain Jahan, a friend of mine for last 22 years. It literally represented all continents, the man from Cameroon. Though he could not turn up in spite of being here, but I'm sure that all of these continent people have been here showcased in this small but very impressive conference. I'm proud of each of you who have worked by bringing on paper and also creating a new hub of academic interest in the subject of that. I am personally grateful to young volunteers. I saw some of the volunteers having tears in eyes, and I can assure you that these young boys and girls of this university, everywhere where we have a conference in the past, we have taken 1 or 2 boys and girls to higher studies in different countries. I assure you, 1 or 2 of you will be also taken by me to other countries. I tell you that. Well, I can see in front of me Professor Imanul Haq, whom I met first time in 2000, and then I can see the fire and fiber still very strong in him. Thank you, sir, to be our guide and mentor, and I'm very grateful to the board of management. As I say, Professor Rahman was having fullness of Raham on us. I mean, he was Rahim for us in many ways. Thank you, sir, so much. In that trustee board, I'm very happy. And all these works, there always is something behind the scene. I'm sorry being a bit longer. There is any institution without a treasurer, it doesn't work. And that person is very silent. I can ask anyone, treasurer who nobody knows, but he works behind. I'm very happy to introduce you, Professor Milanda. Could you stand up, please? Because he has been treasurer of this university, and he has helped me in money transfer and all. Thank you so much, Milanda. I have no other words to say except that my good wishes to all of them who are going for a longer trip, a longer journey, and I will request our Honorable Minister that the baggage are going quickly, I know that. I hope that that time, and I'm especially grateful to your ministry or your government for the protection and security which we have got, and I'm very, very proud of that. Thankful to that, man. We are very happy, and I hope they have. Thank you so much.
Can I request now Professor H.M. Jorul Haq, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of University of Liberal Arts, Bangladesh, on the stage, please, to give his vote of thanks of the 8th SSEASR conference.
Thank you, Nadia. Mr. M. Mannan, Honorable Minister of Planning, His Excellency Mr. Kanbar Hossein-Bor, Acting British High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Member Ulab Board of Trustees, Professor Imran Rahman, the Advisor to the Special Board of to the Board of Trustees, our Vice Chancellor, Treasurer, dear participants, students, colleagues, well-wishers, very good evening. Dear friends, our conference is almost over, and I would like to thank you once again for making the conference a success. I am highly satisfied by the depth and quality of research work presented in the conference. I do have a list. It's a very long to thank. At first, I would like to thank the chief guest, His Excellency M. Mannan, MP, the Honorable Minister of Planning, for his presence and also for his thoughtful speech. I am also very thankful His Excellency Kanbar Hossein-Bor, the Acting British High Commissioner to Bangladesh, for gracing the closing ceremony as a special guest. I would also like to thank the SSEASR Authority Organization and the chairperson, Amarjiva Lochan, for his huge contribution for making this conference happen at the University of Liberal Arts Bangladesh. Thank you very much, sir. My sincere thanks to our participant, researcher, guest for being part of this great conference. We tried our best to make Ulab homely for you, and I would like to invite you all to visit Ulab and Bangladesh again and again. A great team of faculty and admin has been working for months to make this conference flawless. At first, I would like to thank Ulab Board of Trustees for being so supportive for this conference. Our trustee members, Ms. Amina Ahmed and Professor Vikul Islam, consistently attended sessions in this conference, and I express my gratitude to them. I'd like to thank Professor Imran Rahman for his guidance, and also my thanks to the Vice Chancellor, to Treasurer as well. Now I'd like to thank the team who has made the conference flawless. Let me thank Professor Akhtar Ahmed, Dr. Shuman Rahman, Dr. Pinky Shah, Dr. Sohana Manjur, Mr. Wazir Ahmed, Ms. Nadia Rahman, Mr. Hassan Imam, Mr. Habibur Rahman, Tawfiq Aziz, Mr. Tawfiq Aziz received all foreign participants in the airport. Mr. Jamaluddin Bhuya and Mr. Hassan Imam, who made very tasty food for all of us during lunch and dinner. Mr. Mahfuz Rahman, who made our campus and washroom very clean. Mr. Ariful Haq, Mr. Piyash Roy, Wahidul Jamal, Humayun Kabir, and all members of this team. I should not forget our volunteers who have supported our participants and foreign guests. Thank you very much. Now let me express my gratitude to the most important in organizing this conference, the Iron Lady of Ulab, Dr. Shahnaz Hussain Jahan. Her hard work, determination and scholarly commitments have provided us this platform. Another important person who has significantly contributed in organizing this conference is Mr. Mehdi Rajiv. In fact, Mr. Mehdi Rajiv was in charge of everything related to conference. Actually, I made a very small team. He was the main coordinator of that team. So my sincere thanks to both Mr. Mehdi Rajiv and Dr. Shahnaz Hussain Jahan. Finally, I'd like to thank lead sponsor, High Commission of India. I also would like to thank platinum sponsor, Can Book Dhaka Company Limited, strategic partner Pratham Alo, media partner Daily Star, youth engagement partner Shout, online media partner Bangla Tribune, and publication partner Nymphe Publication. Thank you very much.